I am a clinical hypnotherapist, which means I help people access the power of their subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is what really controls you, where you live, what you feel you're worthy of, how much money you think you can make, whether you're going to allow yourself to lose weight or not. These things are controlled by your subconscious mind. So in many cases, willpower is not enough, and that's why I help people using hypnosis or the power of their subconscious mind. So in this broadcast, it was going to be about 20 minutes long today. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have about hypnosis. Maybe you've been interested in training in hypnosis. Maybe you have some questions about, can hypnosis help you with this or that? Maybe you had a friend who went to a hypnotherapist and you're wondering about it. It got you curious about it. Or maybe you want to start a lifelong career of helping people with hypnosis like I do. Any questions are fair game related to hypnosis, and that's what I'm here for. 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So today I am here as your resource. If you're just joining us, go ahead and like this video if you don't mind. Go ahead and share this video. Go ahead and subscribe so you'll know when I'm on next. And let's go ahead and take a moment and check in and see who we have here with us. Miss Rowley, hello, always good to see you. Michelle, hello, nice to see you. Liliana says, hello, Dr. Steve, hello to you. Carol says, good afternoon. Hello to you, Carol. Emma says, Dr. Steve, hope you're well. Well, you too. Duncan says, hi, Dr. Steve. Ida says, how are you? Doing great, Ida. Thank you very much. I've never met any of you in person, but I'm glad to see you all here. It's always good to see the family turn out, even though many people who are on here I have never met and maybe will never meet, but that's the beauty of the internet. It brings us all together, and in this place, this tribe, this community, whatever you want to call it, it's always good to see people who have been on here before. May, hello to you. I hope you have a wonderful day as well. Kim, hello. Darcia, hello. Brenda, hello. Carrie, hello from Norway. All right, good to see you. Adriana, happy new week and smile. Good to see you. Glenn, hello to you. Julia says, I love your hypnosis sessions, as I am a. All right, well, finish that sentence, and I'm sure it's something in the healing arts. Elma says, hello from Bosnia. All right, hello to you. Sandra says, hi, Dr. Steve. Hello to you. Julia says, I am German, and I just wanted to know why you don't have it in German language. Well, Julia, we researched the top 5 languages of the world when we produced our various language hypnosis recordings with my top 5 recordings in those 5 languages. Fortunately, one of them was English, but in the rest of them we had to recruit experts in those languages who could properly deliver the recordings. For example, our Russian recordings, my hypnosis recordings are recorded in Russian, which are now online thanks to a company called Mind Valley, Russia. Those were recorded by a graduate of Yale. So we look for top quality people who can record these programs, and we looked for the top languages of the world. My apologies, but Russian didn't make it. Now, recently we had, thanks to Melissa Orban, who's a hypnotherapist living in Hungary, we had the hypnosis recordings, my top 5 hypnosis recordings, translated into Hungarian, but not German yet. Even though, yes, I realize there are plenty of German speakers. We just haven't done it because no one's reached out to us about that in particular, wanting to create them, a highly qualified person wanting to create them, and it's not a one of the top 5 languages, unfortunately. But hope you have a good day, and I've been to Germany and I love the country and I have German roots myself. Sharon says, any hypnosis recordings for stress? Yes, I do have a hypnosis recording for stress. You can Google Steve G. Jones hypnosis stress and you will find that. Jeff says, hello, Dr. Steve. Good afternoon to you and the group. Well, hello to you, Jeff. Jahira has joined. Miss Rowley is back. Karen says, hi, Dr. Jones. Hello to you, Karen. And if you're just joining, go ahead and like this video. Go ahead and share it. Go ahead and subscribe so you'll know when I'm on next. And Valerie says, hello, Dr. Steve, and to all that all those are watching the wonderful and positive broadcast. All right, well, thank you for being here, and thank you for contributing to the positive aspect of this broadcast, Valerie. Barbara says, hello, Steve. Think you're here. Best regards from Swiss. All right, well, thank you, Barbara. And Miss Rowley, as always, reminds me to speak more slowly for those international viewers and listeners. So thank you for that, Miss Rowley. Mara says, good evening, Dr. Steve. What do you think of the circus hypnotist? I don't know anything about the circus hypnotist, but if you can elaborate on that, I will be glad to share my opinion on that. Vanessa says, hello. All right, so today's broadcast is going to be a little on the shorter side. By shorter, I mean a normal length for a broadcast, but sometimes, you know, I go on and I get a lot of questions, and I'll push it to about an hour because I love you guys. I want to stay here and answer your questions, but when I have a hard deadline like I do today, when I've got another meeting coming up, I've got to cut it off. So today we've got about 14 minutes left. So if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them out there. I know they normally come toward the end or even in the second half hour of the broadcast that I do, but today's entire broadcast is only 20 minutes. All right, so Vanessa says, hello. Barbara says, if I listen to you say that, I can learn English. Okay. I don't quite understand your question, Barbara, but if you want to learn English, I'm not a linguist, but the best way to learn English, as with any language that's foreign to you, is immersion, to go to a country where they speak that language and to immerse yourself in speaking that language, and at the same time to pursue academic study of that language at a university or a community college. They offer extracurricular classes on those languages, you know, community classes that are about the languages. They're not necessarily the hardcore academic approach that some people are averse to and kind of turns them off. So that's what I recommend, immersion and a class at the same time to learn English, if that's your question. And again, I'm not a linguist, so that's just my layman's 2 cents. Melinda says, hi, Dr. Steve, Genius Jones. I like that, Melinda. I think we can use that. Melinda, by the way, joining us is the lady I referenced earlier. She's a hypnotherapist in Hungary who recently created the Hungarian hypnosis recordings. And thank you for that, Melinda, helping her fellow country folks. Peggy says, good afternoon, Dr. Steve. Hello to you. Jeff says, I just got the book you recommended, Handbook of Suggestions and Metaphors. All right, excellent. I've already gotten several certifications from your classes, with more ready to start. I wish I could have gotten this book earlier on, so just want to pass that in to others studying hypnosis. Wow, what a great book. Yeah, the you know, there are a lot of books in the world of hypnosis that let's just say they're not as good as that one. It's always nice when you see something produced in the world of hypnotherapy that's from mainstream academia. And unfortunately, that's lacking quite a bit. You see a lot of non-academic people writing books about hypnosis, people who are not MDs, they're not PhDs, they lack the underpinning that an academic education offers, and instead they've got an education that's assimilated from various sources. A lot of those sources tend to be internet sources. So we see a lot of, not necessarily misinformation, but not really juried information, not information that hasn't really been tested in an academic way. So it's important when you study hypnosis to consider the source, as with anything. And the book that I recommend that you're referencing is something that I do recommend in my hypnosis class, which, by the way, is available at hypnosiscertified.com. And so check that out when you get a chance. And by the way, speaking of websites and certifications, if you missed my broadcast, about an hour long on Saturday, a special broadcast about NLP, go back and check that one out. And you can also check out the link Statbrook, STATBROOK.com/NLP. That's statbrook.com/NLP. If you're interested in learning NLP. I know we don't talk a lot about NLP in this broadcast because I am primarily a hypnotherapist, but I am also an NLP trainer. And we have something very special going on for you right now that you can still check out. statbrook.com/NLP. So thanks for being here, Jeff. Thanks for a shout out about the book. I did not write that book, Handbook of Suggestions and Metaphors, but I highly recommend it because it is written by a very skilled academic team, and it is juried, and it is data driven, and there's no fluff in the book. It's just, it gets to the point, and it speaks about things that are logical and presented in a way that assures the reader that they're reading something that has been scientifically researched, which is very nice to see in the world of hypnotherapy, and I'm always looking for sources like that. Linda says, hello and good evening, Dr. Steve. Well, hello to you, Linda. Julia says, one more question, as I am a native German, but I understand really good English. It is as useful as it would be in my native language, or should I listen more Avery session? More days Avery session. Okay, so what I think you're asking, I'm going to create this question into what I think that you're asking. So we have a question here from Julia, and Julia says, I am a native German, so a native speaker of German, but I understand English really well because it's useful. And okay, so the question is, would English be useful in hypnosis since German is the native language? So would it be helpful to listen to an English hypnosis recording such as mine, or would it be better in German? It's always better in your native language because you're going to have a more thorough understanding. But in the case of my hypnosis recordings, I do not use any words that are beyond probably an 8th grade education. And I do that in a lot of my writings also, just because that's good advice. You don't want to speak in words that are confusing to people, just attempting to show off your academic prowess, because you can lose some people, especially the subconscious mind, and especially people who are non-native speakers of that language. They simply won't have that information in their brain, what that word means. So you'll be happy to know that all of the words and the way I put them together in my hypnosis recordings, they're at about an 8th grade level, which is great because I feel that if you understand something, if you really understand something, then you should be able to explain it in an 8th grade level. You should be able to just boil it down to its essentials. If you have to use a lot of jargon to explain what you're talking about, then it's not really clear whether you understand what that jargon means. So in my books that I write, even in the book You Can Attract It that I wrote with Frank Mangano, and The Power of Thin that I wrote with Frank Mangano, and all the hypnosis books, all the 22 hypnosis books I've written, keep it at an 8th grade level so that everyone can understand it. The information is still high-level information, but it's explained in an easily digestible way. And I got that idea from, among other people, Michio Kaku, who's the PhD physicist. He's the Asian guy who you'll see on Discovery and a lot of other type shows in the recent years. And this is a highly educated guy, and he's talking about physics, and he's talking about theoretical physics. These things are usually very confusing for people, but he speaks about it at an 8th grade level, so it's very easy to understand. So I respect that, and I see the beauty and power of that. So my simple answer is, Julia, if you listen to my hypnosis recordings in English, you'll be fine. I don't know about other people's recordings because, for the most part, I haven't used them. I would hope they did the same thing, but I don't know. And the best bet, however, is going to be for you to listen to hypnosis in your native language, just to be on the safe side. All right, so there's your answer, and thank you for that question, Julia. Zeta says, hi, Steve. Nice to see you again. Well, nice to see you, Zetas. We've got 6 minutes left. I apologize for being a stickler for time today, but got a hard deadline. Ida says, seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD, by the way. Can hypnosis help with winter coming? If not, what do you recommend? Okay, so we have We have a question here from Ida, and the question is, can hypnosis help with seasonal affective disorder? Interestingly enough, the initials are SAD, so it's easy to remember. So can seasonal affective disorder be helped with hypnosis? The answer is yes, but when we look beneath the surface and we dig a little more deeply into it, we realize that this is a medical condition. This is a diagnosis. You do not know that you have seasonal affective disorder until a physician or someone else qualified to give a diagnosis tells you that. A hypnotherapist such as myself would not be qualified to diagnose any type of illness, mental or physical, so keep that in mind. But once you have a diagnosis from a physician for seasonal affective disorder, they're also going to recommend treatment for that. They have light treatment, they have drug treatment, they have move to a different city treatment. There are lots of treatments for that. We see people in the Pacific Northwest suffering from that quite a bit because of the extensive cloud cover, especially in the wintertime, and that's why it's called seasonal affective disorder, because usually the winter season, which lasts a long time in the Pacific Northwest, brings in the disorder because the rays of the sun are obscured by the cloud and they're diffused by the clouds. The clouds tend to canopy the sky in the Pacific Northwest, not just hit and miss clouds, but entire cloud layer cover. And because of this, people who are dependent on sunlight to receive their happiness, which is actually a physiological process, they get less of it, and so they can develop this disorder. And this disorder is not something, as I've said, that anyone would diagnose except someone qualified to diagnose it. So either go to your medical doctor, your primary care physician, see if you have it or not. You can discuss your symptoms. They can check those against the symptoms that you would be presenting if you had that. If you do have it, they will recommend some therapies. I recommend that you follow what your physician says. At the same time, I do have a hypnosis recording to help you overcome sadness, which I think would be a great tool to add to that. But of course, as with any hypnosis you use, let your physician know about it and ask them their opinion on it. And in most cases, physicians say, sure, why not? Because hypnosis is harmless, it's not going to do anything bad to you, and it may actually do something good for you. There's my answer, Ida, and thank you for that question. All right, moving on here, and we have 3 minutes left. My apologies for being so tight on time today. Michelle says, can hypnosis be used to help people that lack empathy? It is said that the top people in the finance world lack this trait. If it was restored through hypnotherapy, would these people lack their abilities with their professional skills? Well, correlation does not imply cause and effect. That's a basic scientific principle that you should be aware of, Michelle, and perhaps you haven't delved much into science. That's fine, even social sciences. But just because things are correlated doesn't mean that one's causing the other. It doesn't mean that because they lack empathy, they're going into finance, and if you take away their lack of empathy, then that will correlate to them not being into finance. So these things are not necessarily going to change because one changes. Because you change A doesn't mean it's going to affect B. So to answer your question, I have absolutely no idea if that would occur. That's something that would have to be tested in a scientifically designed study, probably designed by a psychologist, controlling for all other factors and just testing those factors. So, and having not seen any studies relating to that, Michelle, I can say with all authority that I don't know. And but it is interesting. I would suspect, however, that empathy is not something that's going to be easily affected by hypnosis. Oftentimes, lack of empathy ties into what we call personality disorders, which are actually at the core of a human. And so normally when someone has a personality disorder that manifests in other ways, besides just lack of empathy, there are other manifestations of it. Usually that's not going to change. What is going to change would be the distinctions the person gets and the insights they get, and so they can make some changes in their behavior, but their true self usually does not change in a substantial way. Doesn't mean there's not hope for them, because they can get tremendous insight. It just means that this is a different type of situation where we're dealing with a personality disorder potentially, and that's much less likely to change. But the thing that can change would be the way they interact with the world and the way they feel about themselves. Those things can change. All right. On that note, we are going to have to wrap up. Thank you all for your questions. My apologies for cutting this short. I know around this time we're normally just getting ramped up and we're getting into the good stuff. We're getting into the questions. So join me next time. I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Normally a little longer than this. I schedule these for about a half an hour usually, but as you know, if you've been here before, I'll go up to an hour if I have to, if I'm getting good questions. So those of you who didn't get your questions in today, join me on Wednesday. We will talk more. And a quick shout out to Cecilia, Barbara, hello, Shanna, hello to you, Sherivan, hello to you, Joanna, hello, Miss Rowley, Gabby, Francisca, Edie, Monica, Tony, Julia, Vanetta, hi from Cyprus, all right. Betty, hello to you, Valerie, Jean, Joni, hello everyone. Joni is a hypnotherapist as well, who's worked with many successful athletes. And Ida, you're welcome for the answer. June Ann, hello. Anish, hello. Anna, hello. Vanya, hello. Wow, so many wonderful people. Sobit, hello. Betty, Zetis, Jane from London, hello to you. Carrie, wow, I could go on and on. Thank you everyone for being here. Tremendous turnout. Again, my apologies for cutting this short. I've got a hard deadline. I've got to get to a meeting today. Wednesday, I'll have a little bit more time. I'll at least be able to do the half hour that I normally do and hopefully stay a little longer. If I didn't get your questions today, I see some questions I was not able to get to. Please save them for me for Wednesday. And again, I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I'm going to sign off now, and I will look forward to seeing you later in the week. I'm Dr. Steve G. Jones, hoping you have an outstanding day.